Damian Lillard put up another 50-piece and came through in the clutch time or Dame time yet again. I'm Robin Lundberg here with Ben Pickman and Wilton Jackson. And guys, Damian Lillard continues to just have an unbelievable season. And he's really carrying the Portland Trailblazers. To me, he's the guy that shows just how absurdly talented the NBA is, because you can't instantly say that the Dame is one of the five best players in the league, or he's, not starting in the All-Star game. Yet he's incredible. He can hit a shot from anywhere. Logo Lillard. Again, Portland shouldn't, I don't think, be as good as they have been with all the injuries. So is Dame a top five player this season? And what makes it so hard to me is when you're looking at little guards, you also have Steph Curry and Kyrie, who are unbelievable. You're looking at MVP candidates. You've got LeBron, Embiid, Jokic, and James Harden. I didn't even mention Jimmy Butler or Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant, who's out with injury, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, Ben.
Yeah, you certainly rattled off some of those names and so many impressive names. I think Lillard has put himself in the MVP conversation, and he might be a top five worthy candidate this year, if maybe five, but he's not a top five player in the NBA right now, and there's a distinction between the two, right? You look at some of his statistics, right? He's second overall in ESPN's offensive real plus minus. He's been a terror on the offensive side of the basket, making literally everything from everywhere, as you mentioned, Robin, but defensively, that's where he has some shortcomings, right? You look at some of these advanced statistics, he often has a negative rating, say, in 538's Raptor ranking defensively or ESPN's defensive real plus minus. The impact there that he makes on that end of the floor is not as profound as some of the other players in this conversation, in the MVP conversation, specifically a Joel Embiid, say, or LeBron, or a Giannis. I mean, you rattled off some of the names. Damian Lillard is a great player, but right now, are you taking him over Giannis, LeBron, the Joker, Embiid? James Harden's been tremendous. Kevin Durant is hurt. We could keep going. We forgot some names. Anthony Davis, among others. Luka. For that reason, I don't think Damian Lillard is there just yet. He's not, good enough, say, on both sides of the basketball. But he is a franchise centerpiece, and he is well worth and well worthy of being included in this MVP conversation.
Well, I love the fact that he's getting the love. And people have talked about him leaving Portland. I think part of the reason we've talked about this before, he is getting that love, is because he's so identified with Portland. He feels a little bit different. And you're really grasping at straws trying to separate some of these guys when you're talking about a top 10. You really need to go to 12 or 13 or a top five with Dame this year, because you mentioned the defensive aspect that could come into play with a LeBron James or a Giannis, or controlling the game aspect with a LeBron or a Harden. But when it just comes to bucket getting, Wilton, Dame is as fearsome as it gets.
You're absolutely right, Robin. And he's essentially incredible when you're talking about, getting a bucket. And so when you look at, I think when you look at this question, for me, it always comes down to what other four players would you maybe consider in front of him? So, four other players for me would be, Nikola Jokic, Giannis, LeBron, and Joel Embiid. And then after that, you can make a case for Dame, James Harden, Bradley Beal, or Steph, or even Luka. Like Ben said, he's second in points per game. He has a top 10 assist percentage. He's also top five in usage, but then more so than anything, he has the third most win shares behind Jokic and Giannis, but ahead of Embiid, Harden, LeBron, and Steph. So, and when you consider that and knowing where Portland is, I mean, you lose two of your best players on your team. Obviously they got CJ McCollum back last night, and you're talking about a Portland team that's 23-16 and tied for fifth in the West with Denver. So in terms of looking at, his overall contribution and being a top five player, you could make a case for him, but because the league is so talented, it's always hard to put him in that top five spot.
Yeah, he's unbelievable, which makes it unbelievable that I can't say he's definitively a top five player.